Hi there, Ron here of Variable Play, and welcome to
Hello.
LarongAtin.
Hello, good evening,
Hi.
everybody.
Hi,
Good
hi.
evening.
Good evening. So, kamusta? Very wild, crazy,
Yeah.
Yep.
crazy events at the moment. So
Mm-hmm.
I know everybody is hoping that things don't escalate. Um,
Mm-hmm.
pero at the same time, the board gaming experience gives you a lot of tools to put context. Uy, alam ko yung city niya, nakita ko yan sa Twilight Struggle. Or yung next card, dapat yan to. So, yun.
Mm.
Uh, may tulong din minsan ang gaming. At least for things that we normally wouldn't probably be learning, you end up learning. But before
Mm-hmm.
we get into our topic today is going to be about barriers to tabletop gaming. But before we get there, people are currently joining in. Um, have you guys been playing any games recently?
Mm.
You
Me,
want to?
no.
Yeah.
I've
Go,
been
go.
I've been busy because it's so for those who don't know, I also manage yung 1/4 intermediate POD. So
Right.
it's a quarterly printing run thing, and this week is the Q1 print run. So I've been busy just editing files and formatting files. For how many days? Biglang daming nag-order, so it's just a flood of files, just fixing a lot of files. So yeah,
hmm
that's what I've been doing in my nights.
Okay.
Mm.
How about you, Sir Freddy? What have you
Kamigawa Neon
played?
Dynasty.
Yeah. What? You already
Oh,
got to play Gawa Neon
May
Dynasty? Oh yeah,
pre-release.
over the weekend.
There were pre-releases. And
Okay, okay.
so I got to play it. Ang hindi pa dumarating is
The
yung products for regular release. And well, as usual, as with everything else in the world, everything's stuck with the global logistics problems.
Yep. Yeah.
So
okay.
wala, nakadagdag pa tong ano, I guess it's going to affect
Yeah. Yeah.
shipping
Yeah.
even more
Definitely.
with oil
Yeah.
prices going up to ridiculous prices,
hmm
'di ba? It's like I don't know, parang 10-year high na ata ngayon yung oil. It's
hmm
$109 per barrel.
Yep. Yep. Very, very high. And hi, Abigail.
Hello.
Evening.
Yeah.
Hi,
That's,
Aldrin.
eventually, eventually the gas. No, sir. What do you think? Will it affect prices of games? It probably will.
Definitely kasi
Yeah.
yung shipping cost ngayon talagang it's ridiculous.
Mm.
Ah, paminsan 4 times or something. Basta it's yung inflation sa shipping, it's
Mm.
ridiculous. Talagang hindi man lang yung nakikita mo na parang, oh, 10%. No, shipping costs are like doubling, quadrupling. Ah, tapos ano pa yon? You're still competing with the so many things dahil sabay-sabay lahat. The logistics crunch. There's not enough ships, there's not enough planes, flights, and yun. Port congestions left and right.
And this was all even before Ukraine. So now
Mhm.
Yes.
siguro it's gonna get worse, no?
So it's probably gonna get worse.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yung dating
Yeah.
Suez Canal thing,
Mhm.
when that happened, akala ko hindi tayo maapektuhan sa Asia kasi I
Mm.
thought that was between Asia and Europe.
Mm.
Pero for some strange reasons, talagang nag-backlog lahat
Evening,
eh.
Mark.
Ay,
So ngayon, meron din sigurong mga mahaharang na na areas. We'll see.
mm.
Hi, Danlin.
Ay.
Yes. Yes. Definitely. Um, but how's Kamigawa, sir? How's the new set? How's the feel?
Uh,
Well, going
I
back
really like it, huh?
going back to
Yung,
Kamigawa
yeah,
in
Kamigawa,
the
when
future.
I'll be honest, the first time I heard that they were going back to Kamigawa, I was a little bit worried from a sales point of
Mm,
view.
Mm.
Dahil yung first Kamigawa block didn't really sell that well. Pero ngayon, itong Kamigawa na to, it seems to be very hot. And I think yun nga, even I was I I was with Javi sa ano niya sa
Sunday
Sunday
night.
night magic niya, and then I told him that I was really excited about Kamigawa because it's going to the future. So medyo magiging cyberpunk na yung magic, and it opens up a lot of options for
Right.
uh, the story and the
Mhm.
game design. So I think it's a it's great na open yun. And maganda yung ano effect, parang may mga mecha, may
Yeah.
mga
Yeah.
Gundam na sa ano eh. May mga
Di naman
Gundam na
di
May mga
naman jarring,
Transformers
sir.
na.
Yeah,
ha?
weren't people worried nga that it would be jarring na parang from fantasy biglang naging sci-fi?
Some people were, but
Mhm.
I'll be honest with you, but Magic has never been lore
Mhm.
first.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's always
Yeah.
been the
Yeah.
game first, game design, set balance, and then lore second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those games eh. So maski na may parang wow, jarring or this, 'di ba? It
Mm.
doesn't really matter as long as you understand what's happening in the
Mm.
game.
Mm. Yeah.
I don't care if my robot is fighting your dragon, 'di ba?
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. And ang nakakatuwa nga, especially with the Kamikawa set, there's a lot of nostalgia baked into it eh. From Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to Biker
Mm.
Mice. Diba?
Mm.
Parang, woo! I can have Ninja Turtles in my
May
book.
Voltes 5 pa eh.
May Voltes 5 pa. May mga Gundam ang dating. Tapos
Mm.
the transforming pets are pretty cool. So you can have dogs that can turn into battle armor and can switch back as dogs. Daming pretty interesting
Oh.
concepts na na dinagdag nila. And
Mm.
still just using wala silang necessarily bago na mechanic entirely. I think wala eh, no?
Uh,
Meron ba?
meron yung yun nga yung transform. What's the
Yung
exact term they use?
reconfigure.
Reconfigure, yes. So yun, bago yun. So creature
Parang
na
innovation
nagiging
siya eh, di ba? Parang
yeah,
it's the old equip, but this one is it it can
it's a
unequip
creature. Yeah, if
into a
it's
creature.
unequipped, it's a creature.
Mm.
So but you can equip it as an equipment. So actually, it's more useful equipment
Mm.
Yes.
dahil maski
Yes.
wala kang creature, may ginagawa siya.
Mm.
And that creature can also carry on another creature
Yes.
equipment on itself.
Yeah. And yun
So,
yung, I guess, doon pumasok yung concept ng nagbo-bolt in sila.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah. So ako excited. I got the precon decks, the commander precons. So pretty excited for those. It's a Gundam, basically vehicles, and the other one is upgrades.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Pretty interesting. Yung most well, we got to play this game over the weekend. Kasi, well, number one, we played Plataforma, which
Yes.
is
Mm.
coming out soon. Tama ba, Nico?
Mhm.
Palabas na ba to?
Well, I have to follow them up.
Okay, okay. Yan. So si
Yeah.
Rico is my mentor on getting things published. Uh,
The production
so
side.
sa production side.
Mm.
So yeah, we got to play this over the weekend. And aside from yeah, just being able to run it and play uh
Yeah. We had the chance to play live in person.
All
Uh,
right. Yeah.
several games actually. 'Di ba?
yes.
Ano ba 'yun?
Um
We played
we played Ginkgopolis,
Ginkgopolis
which is like you're building up this city, but
with
it's sort of
Ginkgo
like an
biloba
area
trees.
control, but
Mm.
you're trying to
Yeah.
maximize the fruits of the ginkgo biloba tree.
Yeah, we have
So
to thank
try
Denmark for that game,
but it's a good game.
for
It's
guiding us through and being
and
our upkeep guy.
yes, yes. it's a good game pero grabe upkeep niya. Nakakaawa. Sino man na nagra-run has to like really manage a lot of things.
Yeah, ang dami niyang minamanage eh, no?
Yeah. Mark is just saying he received his Tiny Epic Dungeon in my additional shipping fee. The 200 plus.
Mm.
Um, anong 200 yun? Kasi kinakabahan ako, meron din ako Tiny Epic Dungeon. Hindi naman $200, di ba? 200 pesos ba yan? Kasi masakit yun.
Ano daw, 200 rubles.
Okay,
Parang,
that's right.
parang
Yung rubles
uh,
ngayon, magkano na?
the
Dalawang
low,
rubles bawat
they're
piso.
just gonna go Ruples 3. Kasi it's
200
already
pesos.
the second
Okay.
Ruples, di ba? Parang they already, the original Ruples was like 1:6,000, and then they rehashed it into Ruples 2, which is
Talaga?
1:6, and now that dropped again, so they have to do Ruples 3. Ano lang naman,
Grabe. Oh.
fraction of a Bitcoin. Yan lang.
Yung interest rates daw sa Russia is at 20%
Yeah, crazy. That's crazy.
just to control the depreciation of the ruble.
Yeah.
Yeah. They are doing what they can to manage the economic effects. The other one we got to play, which is a one shot, is called Deck Detective. I had
Mm.
to pronounce it correctly because so it's a deck. It's like an escape room. There, it's unlike the typical escape room type games na ganun, where you go through puzzles. Ito, not necessarily puzzles. The game is presenting you like a story and some clues that you can find in the pictures, in the items. It has this sort of 3D piece. Even if it's a card game, ang ginawa niya yung box, pinasok niya sa loob, tapos yung card, pinalagay niya on the side. So it ended up with a room. Basically, you have
Mm.
a three-dimensional room. And we
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
want to reveal anything further kasi
I,
ano
I
eh.
I saw you. I think I saw you post nga something about it, and I want to steal that idea because it looks such a smart thing to do.
Galing, di ba? Like, as
Yeah,
a designer,
too smart.
gilid ng box! Oo nga naman!
Ginamit niya yung box. I'm
Hindi lang
definitely
basta ginamit. Tapos, ano eh, wala siyang ibang parang component. Literal yung box.
oh,
Kinlamshell niya lang papasok. Tapos, card. Tapos, pati yung loob, nilagyan din niya ng card. Like, see yung floor eh. It's like,
yeah,
that's smart.
super smart.
But yeah, um, it it was surprising. We don't want to reveal too much. Hey,
Oh,
Toby.
Scooby.
Good evening,
Hey.
Clint. So, the Detective is a pretty interesting game. The really cool idea in terms of the 3D component.
Mhm.
It's I think it's fairly simple. Also, Freddy, it's not overly complex. You know, we're
Yeah.
very casually playing it, and we're just enjoying like what to play, what to toss, type of
It becomes
thing.
complex when you overthink things and then you double,
Yes,
second
you
guess
double.
yourself.
Yes,
And then
and then
after you have to answer the second question, then you want to change your answer to the first question.
parang ang sumasagot lang ng ano, ng multiple choice exam nung bata, and then hindi mo alam yung sagot. So you're like using the exam as context clues to answer the exam. So it was kind of like that. We did okay. We did okay. Like literally, our performance rating was the game said, "Okay, you guys are okay." But yeah, pretty good. And I would recommend people for. It is a one shot though, no? Pagka nalaro mo siya, that's it. Like there's no way for you to play it again.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's it's um it's a fun idea kasi wala siyang consumable. So you can easily just let somebody else play it. And then that's it. So parang, sabi mo, okay, this is like a good perspective on those escape room games na madaling, hindi siya talagang sayo lang kasi yung iba kasi di pinupunit, ganyan. So wala na, talagang ikaw lang talaga
Mhm.
naka-experience. Ito, like you experience it, I share it to somebody, and now they get to experience it and so forth. So
Yun,
yeah.
sabi ni Toby, second guessing is the death of mystery games.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes and no. Unless you like the arguments that happen because somebody starts second guessing the group's decision.
Di ba maganda nga yung ano eh, yung tipong ang complex na nung parang naka-create ng story and you're all going like, this is probably not it, but it's a fun idea that it could have been that.
Mm,
Talaga, yun, ganun na siya ka-complex. But then, af- I think it really helps in those type of games that you just listen and let people sort of share
mm.
their ideas. Wanted to play solo tonight. Okay. Hi, Lubin. Good evening. Alrighty. So, I'm not sure. We're normally we have fun topics, but right now, pahabol ni Toby. We have a lot of fun playing Sherlock Consulting Detective. Sherlock Consulting Detective is the one with the book or the yes, the one with the book. It's like from uh, similar siya kay Watson and Holmes. So may parang clues kayo na pwede kayong puntahan. You decide where you want to go. Then you get to see that clue and sort of read that part or sort.
Mhm.
And yes, mind management is pretty awesome. Yes, thank you, Toby. Such a good game. Re-request natin yan, Sir Freddy, pagka next nating event. Papadala natin in Denmark.
Mm. Bacon
Abigail
sa
is
April, di
saying,
ba?
oh, yes, sir.
Oh,
Thank you for, yes,
makakapag-bacon ba tayo this year?
Yeah, it
we
looks like it.
are toying with the
Okay.
idea of, so you guys have a sneak pre, a surprise info. Uh, I think we might be able to pull off a bacon this
Ooh.
April. So we're just finalizing the details and working with Sir Freddy and of course the volunteers. So Abigail said, just getting into board game December, started playing on Mars and Feb. Favorite games in Scythe, Robinson Crusoe, and Everdale. And Flint
Well, good
says,
choices.
yes to bacon. Yes. Pero ang galing galing Abigail. Started nung December, went
Nasa
straight to
site na
On
siya.
Mars. And you're actually, ano yun, backtrack ng konti kasi On Mars is like more complex than Scythe and so it's like On Mars, step back a little bit for Scythe, then get punished by Robinson Crusoe and even out on using Everdell. That's nice. So yes, Toby, this is now your chance to go to Bacon. We will get the details as soon as we can. I know, right? Hardcore, di ba? Yeah. Alrighty. So today, um, and I think Abigail would be the exception to most of the
I,
items in the list that
I
we
was
have, no?
thinking the exact same
Right? Di
thing.
ba?
Parang,
Kasi,
she
kasi
being
what
here
Yeah.
is
we
gonna ruin this whole topic. No offense, but
Yeah.
you'll see why. You'll see why. Okay.
so our topic today is there is commonly a lot of barriers to getting most for the general public into tabletop gaming. I mean, Abigail and the rest of our viewers at the moment, I'm pretty sure you guys, understand what's fun, why you're playing tabletop, whether it's tabletop RPGs, whether you're playing heavy games, Euro games, party games, miniatures, miniature war games, painting, and so forth. Yes, Toby, we will go into that, but yes, you are correct with that one.
Yeah. Toby
Uh,
knows this topic well as too.
yes. So there are a lot of these barriers, and maybe we can list them down and
Mm-hmm.
siguro also add in just maybe an idea or if we have how do we kind of address them or
Yeah.
kung kaya no for
Yeah.
example na-mention nga natin kanina logistics well
Hmm.
out of our
Yeah.
hands
Yeah. You
all
Yeah.
right
can't play it if it's not here.
yes yes
Uh,
so
let's before we start, let's kasi we actually haven't discussed our each other's top 5. So bago natin umpisahan, And then
Mhm.
let's start from 5. And before we start, uh, let's make guesses on how many overlaps we'll have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm guessing my estimate is 3 overlaps
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
with
think
Nico and with Dron, maybe
Mm, I guess, yeah, yeah.
I, I'm actually kind of like
5.
probably
Ranking lang magbabago.
probably baka ranking lang yung magbago eh. I'm in the
Yeah.
five pero ah sige, I'm gonna go with maybe four.
Okay,
I
sige.
think it's
Four.
gonna be hard because I have a feeling we're going to just rephrase things. So parang
But the
medyo
concept should be the same.
medyo overlap
I
pero
think.
hindi din. Let's see, let's
Okay.
see. Oo.
Sige,
Oo.
sige. Okay.
Mm.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Okay. So I guess we start with the bottom, then as we go away to the
Oh, we,
as
we
we
have to
go.
rank these. Okay, give me
Yeah.
5. Okay,
Yes.
go ahead. I'm gonna rank
All right.
these lang.
All right.
Go.
Sige, sige.
Sige.
Okay, go.
You put your ranking, and then
Mhm.
I'm gonna start. Okay. My number five. So it's just the fifth one. Um. So my number five is uh space or venues. So actually,
Okay.
so okay, wala akong kabuka. So I now have only four chances left to it. Okay, spaces or venue. Um, kasi we live in the Philippines. It's not like we have a lot of table space at home. And then when you go outside, the restaurants they don't really have a lot of space. There are fortunately like neutral grounds and some other LGSs who can have table space. So that's good. Pero syempre, you're kumbaga ita-timing mo rin siya. So the thing with tabletop gaming, kaya nga sabi tabletop, is it really needs space.
Mhm.
Space para ma-store siya sa shelf, space para mailatag mo siya. So, minsan parang 'pag nakakita ka tapos ang laki ng box, parang hindi ko na gusto siyang bilhin kasi kaya malalaro ba namin 'yan? I kid you
Mhm.
not, nagbago yung selection ko ng games that I would buy dahil at the moment nasa bahay ako, I don't have table space at home. So parang hindi ko malalaro 'yan. Kasi wala ako talagang literal na table space para laruin siya and then wala ring venue before sa labas.
Mhm.
So maybe now na medyo nag-free up na ulit and we can already start playing outside again, then more likely magbabago na ulit yung aking
Yeah.
preference. Pero yun, I think the amount of space that a person has kinda influences if they would want to try to get or buy and get deeper. They might have tried, they enjoyed it, but looking at their space at home, baka they might not pursue anything
Yeah.
kasi nga it's gonna be different to them. That's my number
Well,
five.
that space was not in my top 5
Not in
actually.
mine
I
either.
never considered it, but you
Ah,
are right.
Yeah.
It is a barrier, but it just wasn't top of mind sa akin. I
sige
guess
sir.
because of my personal experience where I will always have places to play.
Yes sir. We know.
I, I, I actually think yung reason mo ron, yung space, that's actually the core thing behind yung Shelf of Shame, I think.
Hmm.
Kasi yung
Hmm.
box of
Hindi mo
unpaid,
malalaro
shelf of
naman.
unpaid games.
Yeah.
Kasi I always felt that people probably have more unplayed video games, I think, than board games. I think on the average. I mean, yung mga pag nag-sale sa Steam or whatever. But no one has this like catalog of games they haven't, video games they haven't
It's
played yet.
not
Because
ano eh.
it doesn't
It's
play.
not
Yeah,
physical. It's not
yeah,
It's
physical.
yeah.
not it's not
Pero
you
pagbukas
enter
nila ng
your
Steam,
home.
they have like only 10% of the games actually downloaded. Tapos yung
Yeah,
Yep.
play hours nila per game, zero, zero, zero,
yeah.
zero, zero.
So I think yun
Yep.
nga, the
You know,
shelf of
si Keo
shelf
umimin
of
na nga, oh.
shame. Yeah, shelf of shame is not really about how much money you've spent that you haven't like how many games you haven't played. It's the physical the physical thing. Well, that's what I think lang about the shelf of shame thing. Mhm.
Mhm.
Inuunahan ako ng
Agree.
Desky sa number 5 ko.
Sige sir.
Okay, since
Uh-huh.
inunahan na ako ni Desky sa
Mhm.
number 5 ko, sasabihin ko na. My number five is time. I think a lot of people when because my top five, by the way, is based from what I experience when we're doing demos with at events and whatever, and we're teaching people how to play. And these are the excuses we often hear from people why they don't want to learn games or play games. So number five is time. So I guess this is an excuse that a lot of people use for not getting into tabletop. But like I said, it's an excuse. Kung gusto mo, you'll make time for
Denmark.
it, di ba? And we all lead busy lives and we have other things to do rather than other than just playing. But I think time is one of the biggest barriers because uh, but if you really want to, you can make time for something that you really want to do.
Yeah.
So yun,
Yeah,
number five is time.
I think the way to combat that is that fortunately there are so many games. And so yung nga, sabi nga ni Desky, right, na um, certain games after a certain game length, medyo
Hmm.
iniiwasan na.
Yeah.
I still have some of those. I still have some games on my shelf na 3, 4 hours. I don't think I have a 6 hour game anymore. Um, pero meron pa rin ako. Pero syempre, very small percentage lang siya compared dun sa like parang ano sa yung sa pyramid, lahat ng
Maslow's
mga
hierarchy.
30 minutes yun yung nasa baba and then as it goes up, yeah. So yung
Parang yung mga
game
basic
length,
food groups.
yes.
Yeah.
Nasa baba yung ano.
Oo, yes. Agree.
Yeah. Tsaka, it's also not, like for example, it's not the iba ang time ng video games and or movies compared to tabletop. Kasi like, pag video game, okay, pause mo, tapos balikan mo na lang later on. You can cut it up into chunks.
Yeah.
Pero yung tabletop,
Yeah.
hindi. You have to commit to it. And then
Oh,
you have to commit pa with other players. So,
yes.
yan.
Not
Actually, I was
unless you
about to
are
add that.
a solo
It's not just
solo
your
gamer.
time. You have to time it with other people pa. So that makes it even more complicated.
Mhm,
Yes,
mhm.
yes, agree. But even
Yeah.
for the solo gamer, ganun din eh. Like, okay, kinwalify ko na rin. Sige, I like solo games kasi it's iba rin yung design style ng puzzles nila. But, may iniwasan din ako solo games kasi solo na nga lang. So, probably, nandun ako sa 30-minute na range. Pag nakita ko na yung solo game, wow, teka, setup 30 minutes. Di na.
Yeah.
Okay na. Lipat
Yeah.
na lang. Doon na lang tayo sa ano. So, yun.
Yeah.
Yeah, agree. Time is such a barrier. I think that was our topic nga last week. Eh. Like, one of the biggest lies gamers say. It's like, oh, how long is this game? This is just 30 minutes. Lies. Lies. All right.
Ibang actual flow of time sa perception of time.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. Yes, that's true. Okay. How about you, Nico?
Time was on my list, but I actually grouped it into. Oh wait. Well, I kind of put all of it pala in one. It's time, energy, and effort.
Okay.
But I'll go into that later. So, I just wanna before I go into my list, I just wanna explain how I came up with it. Is that um, yung kasi in the way since as a game designer, what when and a client based game designer, sometimes I have to justify like why would you use a game compared to other forms of entertainment or forms of media. So that's how I kind of look into this barriers, like because I think that games in a way are still competing with other forms of media. So you're
Mm.
competing, instead of playing a game, you could be playing a
Mhm.
video game, you could be
Yes.
watching a film, you could be reading a comic book or a
Mhm.
book.
Yep.
So for me, that's when we are talking about barriers. It's more of why would people choose games instead of an
Mhm.
alternative of a different medium, and what are the
Yes.
barriers keep that would make people choose the other medium
Mhm.
instead
Mhm.
of tabletop games. So that's how I came up with my list. So my number five is the restrictions of the player count. So the number of people needed to actually play games. Kasi I think that for me is a barrier because if you'd, for example, watch a movie, let's say you want to go watch a movie in the cinema or you just want to watch at home, you can do that by yourself at any time. You can also do that with other people at any time. And there's no limit to the number of people needed. So it's much easier to get into as compared to, let's say, you have to organize to play with other people and then and then yun, so it's going to, it's just the logistics uh of playing a game is much more complicated than just watching a film or doing some other thing. So yun.
Yeah. Ito, Nico, may nag-comment. William, babalikan namin yung comment mo. Hello, William. Oh, medyo mahaba, but we'll tackle that. But Kio
Yeah.
picked up here. 3-player minimum games turned me off, at least for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Pero actually, yeah, yung sinasabi ni Nico is so true.
Mm.
That's always been my philosophy when with this business is that lagi kong sinasabi, I want tabletop gaming to be on the same level as those other forms of entertainment because obviously it's not. Lalo na sa
Mhm.
Pilipinas. Obviously it's not. We're not top of mind of the average Filipino, 'di ba?
Mhm.
Tabletop gaming is not top of mind. Anong top
Mm.
of mind? TV, sine, sports, 'di ba? There's so many other things that you're competing
Human.
with for that entertainment na oras
Yeah.
na the
Mhm.
time that people want to spend on and resources they want to spend on entertainment. So yun eh. That's so true.
Mm. Yeah, it's hard to, at least for me, it's hard to look at barriers in tabletop in a vacuum. It has to be compared to the other forms of entertainment because
Mhm.
if the barrier for another form of entertainment is lower, people will generally go there. It's the path of least resistance.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
yun.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
agree to that. So let's review. We have a lot of comments. Thank you guys for
Yeah.
Yeah.
participating.
Oo nga eh. Dami
Yeah,
Um,
comments.
yung mga comments ni William, yung mga sinabi niya, we'll probably get to that later.
Oo, eh, parang
Yeah.
William,
Maraming
nakumpleto mo,
sinabi
eh.
si William eh.
So we will get back to that. May side comment lang si Kiyo about dun sa game length, dun sa team. Sabi niya, 2 minutes man lang, sir. Kasi iti-testing pa niya yung ano. So hindi naman zero daw sa Steam yung time. Tapos, yun, time on boxes are all lies. In some legacy games, meron naman daw save state. William, we will tackle your comment. Yes, and Desky also said that they even tried saving their descent campaigns by taking pictures. Pero ako, I've tried that also, but yeah, honestly, it's really difficult. Once you start playing game, you want to finish it kasi it's really
Mhm.
challenging to just yung marami kang naka-load sa memory. Like you think
Yep.
about a lot of things, and then even if you have the picture set up, you have to start reloading what happened. So I think hindi lang basta pictures, you need notes minsan just to have a context of what has happened. Yeah. Abigail said people are intimidated when they see a lot of components in games.
Nakakatawa yung comment ni Lovin. Too many smart people watching here. Good night na. Eh, isa yan sa mga reasons ko eh. Mamaya,
Actually,
yung ganyan.
wait lang. Wait lang.
Masadong mautak. Aalis
And
na.
I did not think this topic of all topics would get so much engagement. Pero sige lang.
So,
Marami
game
tayong
rooms.
na-trigger tonight, no?
Oo nga eh.
Super thank you, Kai. This topic came from Mars. Mars is our resident tabletop RPG.
Mhm.
They just ran open table yesterday. So this actually came from yun nga, an inquiry about um, the barriers in tabletop RPGs. Kasi uh, I'll also tackle some of the items there. But yun nga, they're asking the community ano nga ba yung um, parang ways to combat. So game group should also be open for other people in teaching gateway games. Most of the time, meron kaming game group na pero nilalaro puro heavy games. So, if di mo feel, di kami entertain.
Mm.
Uh, Books nga,
Yes.
Nico, Desky mentioned that are do have a higher sort of entertainment ranking to tabletop.
Oh yeah,
That's, I
definitely.
mean,
Yeah.
a lot wider, no? A lot wider.
And
Books
with
have been
that,
there
we'll
forever.
get back to Nico's thing because books you can do by yourself
Yeah,
and
Hmm.
you can save technically with the bookmark at any
Bookmark.
point.
yeah.
So it's a there's much less barriers for you to enjoy it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Just like watching TV and stuff like that. So yun talaga eh. It's the nature of the beast.
Yeah,
Tabletop talagang you need to coordinate your time, you need space.
yeah.
Uh, di ba?
Yep.
So it's much harder, but I think it could be argued that it's more rewarding
Hmm.
Mhm.
dahil
Mhm.
may social aspect siya, 'di ba?
Yes, yes.
So it really depends on how you value it or how you value the kind of entertainment you consume, 'di
Mhm.
ba?
Mhm.
So we all have different ways to value things.
Mhm.
Sige.
All right.
Ano,
So,
number 4.
sige. Number
Okay,
4. Okay, I'm gonna go
so
with my
no
number
one
4.
had my thing on their list.
Well, technically,
It's
yeah.
ano kasi sa'yo
See,
eh,
I was right.
sobrang
It's
sabog
gonna
eh.
be like a
It's like
half-half
a shotgun.
thing.
Kasi sa'yo
Yeah,
wala
eh.
yung time eh, 'di ba? Like I said,
Uh,
space and
Uh-huh.
time
Yeah,
are
yes,
yeah.
yes.
considerations because of when you're
Uh,
comparing different things, 'di ba?
Uh-huh.
that's agree. Space and time. So my number 4
Mhm.
is attention span.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Nako,
uy, wala na akong kamukha na naman.
wala na naman. Nako, down to
Okay,
3.
wala na,
Wala na.
hindi ko na na-achieve yung aking 4. So attention span, well, definitely because of this new era, no, na a very short format of entertainment. Although Nico is really doing quite well in TikTok, some viral videos on his TikTok channel, so please
Okay,
follow him.
thanks.
Um, but that also reflects nga talaga the general parang uh, availability of attention from uh, ga- potential gamers or potential people that we can tap into. Uh, it's related to time, pero minsan kasi parang ini-explain mo pa lang yung rules.
Hmm.
Pag lumampas ka na ng certain time limit, nawala na eh. Nawala na yung attention sa'yo. And
Hmm.
wala na, parang, oh no, I've lost them and I can't win them back. It's gonna be difficult. And because of that, parang yun, mararamdaman mo lang. And as a tabletop advocate, I know when to retract a game. Like we've experienced it enough na, hindi na kaya. And we can just say, oh, we can try something else and we'll shift into a simpler game. But more often than not, okay, we'll just try it again next time. So normally pag nagde-demo, ganun eh. Parang, pagka hindi mo kayang explain yung game in 30 seconds, GG. So,
Hmm.
so yun. Because of that, and even just concentrating on the rules, seems to be something that is deterring a wider population. I'm not saying everyone, no, kasi ang dami naman tayong gamers. But if if they just if we just figure out how to entice them to go beyond that first few minutes to just understand what's going on and what they would find something more that would be valuable and it would really be something that they can enjoy. Yun nga lang, I'm still learning, to be honest, how to break that barrier of that short attention span.
Mhm.
Kalaban mo pa yung habang nag-explain ka ng rules na sa cellphone. Oh, so, teka, hindi
Yeah,
mo ito magagets. I'm teaching power grid.
definitely true. Just recently, 'di ba? Yung parang I even made a joke that I didn't want to go to TikTok because I just didn't want to bother with it. But now Facebook has its own TikTok.
Hmm.
Yes.
So talagang yung attention span ng tao 'di ba? Sa YouTube it was 15 minutes, now it's down to what? 2 minutes ba, Nico?
1 minute.
1
But my,
minute?
1
my
minute.
TikToks are not 1 minute.
30
I
seconds.
maximize 3 minutes is the max. I
Yeah.
try to go lower than that.
So playing tabletop requires you to be able to pay attention to, what you're doing for what, at least 30 minutes,
Yes.
at
Yeah.
least,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
To set it
So
up,
yung
30 minutes
no, I
to
mean just
set
to
it
to
up.
set
just
up.
to pero have you tried playing Legendary? Yun yung
Uh,
tipong, guys, laro mo kayo ibang game, magse-set up lang ako.
yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, Sir
So
Freddy, what is your
my
number
number
4?
4, I saw this mentioned na rin kanina, I'm not sure. I think si Deski nagsabi rin naman eh. Was it
Mhm.
it's cost. So number 4 is cost.
Yay,
Uh
meron tayo, sir.
Okay, I have
Nag-lag
that.
tayo dyan.
Mhm.
okay.
I have that. I have
Okay,
that on
cost.
number
Ito
3.
yung ito yung ano eh. Again, as Dico said in his number 5, it's when you're talking costs, you have to compare it with other options of entertainment. Like for example, TV and
Hmm.
lots of things. Watching a campaign rally because people are dancing, uh, di ba? Those things are free. And you can get
Oh, it can even
entertained doing those
oh, it
things.
can even
Watching
earn
a
sometimes.
politician dance, it's
Mhm.
free. 'Di ba? Watching YouTube is
Hmm.
generally free except for the electricity you're consuming, 'di ba? And your internet. But uh tabletop has a tendency to be, more costly because there's physical components. So I think that's one of the barriers na when we're demoing games to people at conventions, we hear things like, pang mayaman lang yan eh, 'di ba?
Hmm.
So that's a barrier, and so it's something that we're trying to address.
Mhm.
I would say we're trying to address with
Mm-hmm.
the games we're publishing locally, because
Mhm.
we're trying to price it lower, and we want to to make it more accessible to more people. But even then, medyo mas mahal pa rin tayo kasi we still have costs, and we have to compete with free entertainment.
Yeah.
Basically, that's really the
Mhm.
issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cost is an issue.
Yep, I have that.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Agree.
just some trivia for the viewers. I think Ron and Freddy know about this. Related to cost, historically, whenever there is an economic depression,
Mm-hmm.
tabletop booms. It sales go up in tabletop because historically, tabletop games were actually the cheapest. Well, a cheaper form of entertainment compared to, let's say, going out to eat, movies, the cinema. But that was historically before the digital age. I think
Yes.
this was like probably Great Depression times. Now, though, with the internet, probably it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the
No.
same
Yeah.
thing.
No. Hmm. Especially with a lot of freemium games that you can just grind and pay with your
Oh, yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also because production of tabletop games has gone to the premium level as well. It's not
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
anymore
Yeah.
like the old, yeah.
Agree. Agree.
Mhm.
All right. How about you, Nico?
Okay,
What is your number
my
4?
number 4. Um, Okay, so my number 4, and let me finish first before anyone comments. Before let me finish my argument first, because it might sound a little elitist at first. Okay,
Ay, ay.
okay,
Okay, okay, may mati-trigger.
Guys,
okay.
Yun na,
guys,
yun na.
guys,
So
Trigger
ready
let
nyo
warning
na,
na 'to.
ready nyo na.
let me finish it first. Okay, this is descriptive. I'm not prescribing anything. So, anyways, so my number 4, and this is also looking into the Philippine community, is that people generally, we have a culture of our culture, Philippine culture. We generally don't enjoy critical thinking. Um,
Oh.
okay, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not to say that we're not smart, that we can't think critically. That's for you guys to decide on yourselves. But it's more of we, it's more of we don't go out of our way to enjoy thinking critically. It's like,
Mm,
okay,
okay,
if
okay.
we okay. So it's more of, okay, maybe when we're at work, we're forced to think critically because we need to do our work properly. But in terms of just going out to have fun, it's not the regular, like, what people would want to do for fun is, hey, let's go out and plan things and make critical decisions and to think critically. It's just not our culture. Tabletop gamers, yes, we would enjoy that. I would enjoy that. But, it's not something we would go out of our way to do for fun. We don't just go do math problems for fun, or for no other reason except to just
You
enjoy
don't?
it. It's not,
Yeah, yeah.
not a typical part of our culture. Yeah.
I hear this
Yeah. It's not to say, so
in
Des, it's not to say we don't have the skill. It's just that we don't use it just for fun, like for no other reason
we
than
don't seek
to
it
enjoy
out.
it.
I would hear this phrase sometimes at the demo tables where ginagamitan ba ng utak yan?
Yan, yan.
Parang like their expectation of like fun games. And this is
Mm,
not, I'm not saying it's everyone. It's
mm,
just that for the non-gamers that
yeah.
we encounter at the demo tables when we're doing um expos, when we're doing trying to reach out new gamers. Uh General public magiging ganun, mga dads, mga moms that are, so they'll ask their kids, they'll ask, oh, yan, kailangan mag-isip tong anak ko. But I'm also telling the parents, di okay din po yan para masamahan niyo po yung anak and so
Mm,
forth. So yun, I agree with this. I guess it's more of like we don't seek it out nga. We don't seek it
yeah,
out to as a form of entertainment. Agree.
yeah. I
Agree.
think for
Parang
Filipinos, our culture in terms of fun is more emotional. It's more like,
mm,
we like to discuss
Kaya
things
hugot.
about our lives and stuff.
Mas
It's not,
lalaki yung hugot.
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yun.
Platform.
It's less, yeah, it's less
Yeah.
thinking. It's more of emotional stuff. And I don't know, that's what people always say about Filipino culture. I don't know how it compares to like other nationalities, but I hear that a lot. So I think that it just doesn't swak too much with our Filipino culture. So there.
Mhm.
Mm. So
Agree,
yeah.
agree. All right, let's pick up some of the responses. So
I knew it's gonna be
uh,
what I said was gonna be controversial.
um, so Abigail said favorite niya si
Uh-huh.
Lacerda. We know, we just your first game. It's like, whoa, what a first game. A first game ko power grid. I'm like already, hey, Friedman freeze. Nope. Eh, may mas higher pa doon. Lacerda first. Good job.
Mm.
So I think Denmark and Desky were having a discussion on like what type of game should you introduce. And I think there's still a skill in gauging ano yung preference. So parang katulad nga nun, there are people
Mhm.
like Abigail who are like, they like actually already critical thinking na. Parang, oh, parang kaya na niya. And
Yeah.
sometimes, pwedeng maging deterrent pa sa kanila if you, oh, we're gonna play um, Talk Talk
Mm.
Woodman, na it's a dexterity game. It
Mm.
might be too simple for them and it might not be entertaining. Oh, okay, this is just a toy. But then be shocked like, oh, there's a game such as this. I'm terraforming Mars and so forth. So,
Mhm.
but there are also crowds naman na talaga pag ano pa lang yun nga, pag hirit pa lang sa'yo, oh, ginagamitan pa ng utak yan, pang matalino lang ba yan? Sabihin mo na agad, sir, buti na lang, matalino kayo. Yun. So, may ganun talaga.
Yeah,
So I
I
think,
answered that once in a not so nice way. I'll talk about that later on my number three.
okay. Ayan. And then,
Yay, someone agreed with me. Whew.
so I
Thank
think
you,
they,
Will.
they, they, they talked about more, William said he's enjoying Magic at 5 Hour Warhammer. Uh, and then,
Yeah,
yeah, sorry.
yeah.
Yes, Abigail said, I love critical thinking. You have to do something build. Kaya nga, she's reiterating she loves Lacerda games. Wow.
Yeah.
So, see, have you played Let's Go already, Abigail? I'm guessing you should be. If not yet, then you should be seeking it out. It's, I think, one of his acclaimed games. I think that's a Lacerda game, if I'm not. Yun yung ginagamitan ng utak, which is sa Jack versus Nate. Hindi naman. Kasi minsan talaga, I've seen this also elsewhere, where it's they just don't want to look that they don't know what they're doing. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually,
eh,
yun yung comment ni Denmark a while ago.
Yeah.
mm,
It's just they don't want to mapahiya yung exact word
yes.
niya.
Mm-mm,
So, unfortunately, ito yung sinasabi ko. The when you're playing games, let's say, let's go to something like chess.
mhm.
When you're playing chess, if you lose, you don't have anybody else to blame. So,
Yeah.
ikaw yung mahina, di ba? If you lose a
Mm,
chess. And people don't like that feeling. So, ang games na nakakapag-minimize ng mga issues na yan, basically are the what you call Ameritrash.
Mm.
So, games with a lot of a lot of elements and
randomness,
mechanics,
theme,
randomness.
story.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm.
And when those games allow the not so good players win sometimes, it gives people an excuse na kaya ako natalo kasi malas yung dice ko eh. Mahilig ako
Mm.
sa one eh. Laging one eh. So
And actually,
that
in
softens
modern
it a
game,
bit.
yes, sir. And in modern game design na nga, ano na nga siya eh. Yes, that's true. But yung randomness na nga in terms of um, to soften nga that sort of very cutthroat.
Mm-mm.
Your mistake is immediately your opponent's gain.
Mm-mm.
Uh, in modern game design, ano na siya, talagang in-incorporate. Like, parang,
Yep.
okay, I've already mastered the framework. My design is good. So now we have to throw a wrench at it. We have to randomize this. We
Mm.
have to figure out what's the thing, the uncertainty that we can add into the game so that it's playable. Otherwise, it becomes this very scientific game approach. So even the heavy Euros are considering the players as a source of randomness. So, and the ones that are very one-on-one, like Twilight Struggle, so yung makita mo talaga that they would put dice or other forms of randomness just to balance out nga that feeling. Kasi nga, that's what modern games are trying to avoid na nga. That, oh, it's my fault that I've lost. I don't want to play again. No, it was just a bad hand. Diba? In Magic, ganun eh. Pag bunot mo, after mo ilang mulligan, wala pa rin
Mm.
lupa, di talo.
Mm.
Yan, ganun lang. Tapos, yes, elitist ka daw. Ito. Joke lang. So, first game ni Clint is Spyfall. Lying needs intelligence. That is true. And William said, thing is, I still cling to the primary reason of complexity, the stirring interest. Agreed. Um, so the more complex games tends to be a deterrent to players. All right. Dami pang reaction.
Yeah.
Sige. So let's continue with
All right.
our number 4 pa lang yun. Nakaisang oras na tayo.
Mm.
Number 3.
Eh,
Where's my number 3?
Okay,
Okay.
number 3 ko. Ay, number 3 was cost. So mabilis
Cost.
lang. Yun
Okay.
nga.
I have that.
Same kay
Okay.
Sir Freddy. Pero siguro i-ano ko lang, i-replace ko lang kasi actually I have 10. I have 10 in my list.
Mhm.
So ang sa akin is just deterrent is the variety. There's so many games. Hindi mo na alam kung nung itatry mo. So pagpunta mo sa store, parang, ang dami naman ito. Ano pang ano? Of course, this was lower in my
Mhm.
list, okay? I'm just
Mm.
uh, adding it
Okay.
in there na ano. But it is interesting, but at the same time, it feels daunting. Parang, paano ko, parang ang dami naman na to and there's so many varieties. So what will I try? Of course, it now
Mhm.
depends on the ate and kuya that's selling at the
Yeah.
store.
Mm.
Um, I remember watching someone, and parang I think their game na na-experience was Settlers of Catan. the, the, parang naghahanap sila ng something similar. So ako naman, in-observe ko lang. Pinintahan ng Eldritch horror. sabi ko, sabi ko
Wow.
pagkatapos,
Hmm.
parang katulad din niya, sir. Hindi na lang ako makahirit. Pag sabi ko pagkatapos, ating galing mo ha. Nabenta mo, ganun, layo ng pinatalon mo sa kanila. Hindi, kakayanin nila yung sir. Parang ako, talaga? Sana hindi siya nagkamali. But it's not, kaya naman, pero I'm not sure if they were just coming in to that in the same context. Kasi ang simple ng pinanggalingan eh. But anyway, I have been surprised. So hopefully they would be doing fine. They still bit the bullet and bought it. So I think they would do their best to learn it. All right. So that's my number 3. Cost. Sinide load ko lang ng variety.
Okay.
Sige, Sir Freddy. Number 3.
Yeah, number 3. My number 3 is in big bold letters, utak. I'm not going to apologize for this.
At least ako may disclaimer. Parang, hey, let
Yeah,
me finish
like I
first.
said, I'm not going to apologize for this. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We have a culture of we're ashamed of being smart. Let's be straightforward with it, 'di ba? Parang kasalanan mo pa kung mautak ka. And people associate tabletop gaming with smart people, and people don't like to be identified as smart. 'Di ba? Who that daw? Utak. So actually there was this event I was in. We were demoing, and as usual, late in the day, pagod na ako. And then we were demoing someone, tapos biglang some smart Alec, pang matalino, ay kailangan ata ng utak yan eh. I medyo masungit na ako at that point, pagod na ako, naasar ako. I answered him, lahat naman tayo may utak eh. Ang tanong lang naman kung gusto mong gamitin.
Boom.
Di ba?
Mic drop.
Well, thankfully, natawa na lang siya nung sinagot ko siyang ganyan. Kasi sinabi ko naman yun with a smile eh. Pero, hearing these things over and over can be really frustrating.
Yeah.
Yes,
diba?
you hear it all the time talaga.
So,
we were in a radio interview, and one of the people, yung text your comments, ganon, said the exact same thing. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, insult people with a smile. Make it like a joke, di ba? Para...
Well, we tried.
Tatawa na lang siya.
Insult people with a smile.
So, yun.
Well,
yun yung number 3 ko.
Actually, sir, ang fortunate part nga doon is that if they weren't using it in the first place, then you could have pulled it off safely. Kasi you wouldn't be able to recognize the subtle move.
Marami akong mga ganyan eh. Like, kailan ba yun? There's this one time, I was driving down the road, tapos meron nag-counterflow. Binabaan ko ng bintana yung driver. Tapos sabi ko, pre, pwede magtanong? Tapos, sige. Sumagot siya na, counterflow siya. Kailan nila ginawang one-way tong kalsadang to? Sabi ni Mesa, di ba? Parang, hindi siya pwedeng magalit sa akin, pero alam niyang na-insulto siya. Di ba?
Ano lang ginawa niya? Binaba na lang niya. Umalis siya.
Wala. Parang tahimik na lang siya, tapos nag-drive away na lang.
Nice.
Pero hindi niya ako mamura, di ba? Hindi ko siya minura. Hindi ko siya inaway. I just asked him a question, but lumabas yung katangahan niya. Di ba?
Nice.
Ilan na customer yung go for the throat?
Yun ang gamer skills. Nice. Yes, agree. It's nagtatanong lang naman daw eh.
Oo, tatanong lang eh. Hindi naman ako nangaaway, di ba?
Para pagka pwede rin pala yan sa mga sa board gaming, di ba? Kunyari naglalaro kayo ng Pandemic, tapos may nag-alpha gamer. Oh, may solo variant na pala to.
Yung mga microaggressions.
Kasi hindi gagana sa board gamer, mag-get sila. Teka muna. You are you pertaining to me? No, obviously. All right,
Yeah.
Nico. What is your
Nico, number
number
three.
three?
My number three was actually yung not enough time. But I also
Okay.
wanted to put there na just, it was already discussed naman, pero time, energy, and also effort. Kasi, I mean, in many ways, time is also energy, diba? Kasi you
Mm-hmm.
need to rest, ganon. And yun, because just comparing it to other mediums, like, let's say, food as an entertainment, diba? Parang all you need to do is take a bite, which takes zero effort and takes just 1 second. And then and then comparing it to, like, let's say, art. Let's say may nakita kang magandang art sa Facebook or whatever. It just takes you a second to appreciate it. And yon. Pero with games, there's just so much more energy, time, and effort needed to
Mm-hmm.
appreciate it and to just to understand it. So yon, it's really a big barrier compared to the other mediums. So yeah, just pero yun, it's the same thing naman, time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Nice, nice. All right.
So overlap yun.
Yeah,
May
overlap
overlap.
yun.
I think
Yep.
overlap ng time.
Mhm.
Nahanap ko lang yung comment ni William. Yan. So I think related nga sa dito, if I may add, one of the things I encountered, most people fear the complexity more
Mhm.
than anything else. So I think complexity kasi nga parang I would have to exert more effort to think about, coupled with the preconceived notion of that it's too smart for them to enjoy. So yun nga sir,
Mm-mm.
ito yung na-mention nyo nga na uh, it is definitely a deterrent for potential gamers or just the general public. There are so
Yeah.
many games that they could have enjoyed, pero because of that stigma nga that they don't wanna look stupid, that they think that they don't wanna make that effort to think about. Lalaro na nga lang, kailangan pang pag-isipan. Parang gano'n yung mentality na, of course, yun na nga yun eh. Laro nga yung na-exercise mo yung utak mo eh. So, uh, we just have to educate them, which is actually my number two, awareness.
Mhm.
So my number two is, even if it's quite popular, you have social media, and people see the stores out there, they see the stores online. It's still not really that mainstream. No, it's I am still surprised at times of like how little parang people are aware of tabletop gaming. Even if they would see it, all over the place and people understand, oh, but you would still hear people call board games as game boards.
Mhm.
So, doon pa lang sa, oh, okay. And then, or call them laruan.
Mhm.
So, and so that's there. And because of this, because they are not exposed, they're not aware, and they're not educated about the joys of it. It's just really not in mainstream media
Mm-mm.
enough for them to be enticed, to at least try. So, fortunately, sa mga anime schools, medyo nagkaroon ng anime about board gaming, which was super cool. And they actually had popular titles in the anime. So that's great. But yun nga talagang very zoomed in to kids, to students. Ang problema, hindi naman lahat yun magta-translate into gamers afterwards.
Yeah. Which is
Yun.
why I think some people are complaining right now that masyado tayong natutuwa when we see celebrities. Meron kasing yung mga parang contrarians lang talaga. And then when we're happy that we see celebrities playing D&D, playing Warhammer, Henry Cavill playing Warhammer, celebrities playing D&D, masyado raw tayong OA at sinasamba na natin
Mm.
itong mga taong to, which I think isn't the case. It's really that we want to use the celebrities to increase awareness.
Mhm.
Yun talaga yun eh. It's not like, hindi ko naman sinasamba si Henry Cavill eh. Di
Yes.
ba?
But we can call him the
Speak for
People
yourself,
joke that
medyo.
he's the emperor, God's emperor, di ba?
God Emperor.
Joke lang. I don't even play Warhammer. There you go.
Tapos ano ba?
Hides posters and cut
Oh,
out.
di ba? Tapos yun, like the first Spider-Man, there was a Magic the Gathering poster. Yung kay Tobey Maguire, there was a Magic the Gathering poster in his room, which is,
Yep.
very, in character for Peter Parker to be playing Magic, di ba? So, little things like
Kaya wala
that
siyang pera.
help us with the
Joke.
awareness. Huh?
Sorry. Anyways, go.
Yun, so, ano yung sinasabi ni Desky na umamin ako for what?
For Henry
sa
Cavill.
God sa praising Henry Cavill.
Okay, sige. But no, I don't worship people.
Yes.
But
But
he's a good marketing tool.
yeah, and I mean as a fan of
Yeah.
Witcher and the work that he has done, it's a kumbaga nakakatuwang panoorin kasi totoong parang geek talaga siya. Kasi may,
Yeah.
siyempre, in tabletop RPGs, you would sometimes have celebrities that would try it. Yeah. And you really see naman na they're not really gamers. Talagang very new into gaming. They're enjoying it, but talagang um, they're not yet in the same parang experience. Pero you enjoy that they're enjoying it, pero hindi ka but it's still a plus tulad ng mga the likes of Henry Cavill where fan talaga siya, as in I'm really painting, and yung pag geek out niya doon sa kinalimutan na niya yung nag-i-interview sa kanya eh. Pinag-usapan na lang nila kung nung army na niya. Parang nandun na sila eh. Parang, you guys, we're gonna talk to
Yeah.
this.
And nagsisegue talaga siya into Warhammer in unrelated interviews.
Oo,
Like when he
nagagawa
described
niya.
that chandelier as the Blackstone Fortress, parang yung nag-interview, parang crickets. What the hell is this guy talking about?
Yeah, here's a good question from Nuvin. Are there Pinoy celebrities that are into tabletop gaming? So there are a
Uh,
few.
yeah, there are. There are.
Um, they're not. I think Liza plays. I think I don't remember if she played WoW TCG per se, but she was playing in the same sort of gaming group. Uh, alam ko video gamer talaga si the Miss World natin before. I forgot her name. Um, Shine with her. So meron naman, it's not as many
Mm-hmm.
and as popular as what we hope na yun nga,
Yeah.
to sort of help us get into the more mainstream. So
Yeah.
kailangan
I
so
think
may mga
I think yung
yes, thank you.
kakontihan
It
niya is
is Megan Yang, yes.
representative of the general population. As a percentage of the general population of the Philippines, I think talagang medyo mas konti ang Filipino tabletop gamers. So that also reflects with the number of celebrities that play. So we do have that challenge.
Meron nga
Uh,
pala si Ninong Rai.
yeah, si Ninong
Ninong
Rai
Rai
plays Magic
plays
the Gathering.
Ninong Rai plays Magic the Gathering. So, yon. Actually, pagkarinig ko rin doon, screenshot eh. Parang, what? Tapos nung nagbukas siya ng ED, ng Commander Precon. Commander Precon yun, di ba?
Mm.
Tama ba? So, like, woo! Screenshot.
Yeah, si Gabby Eigenman played HeroClix. Jason Webb played Magic. Sino ba bang
Tapos si Architect
JP De Guzman plays
Oliver.
Warhammer.
Oh, right. I met him. Si Architect Oliver, alam ko nag-Magic and Pokemon. Diba?
Parang
Solo.
I think he mentioned it in one of his he mentioned it in one of his videos. Doon mo
Yes.
naman mahuhuli yan eh. They don't really make content about this, but sometimes you'll see them mention it casually. So,
Yeah.
yun.
All right.
So, yun. My number two.
Number 2.
Two, di ba? Two na, no?
Yes, yes.
Mm.
Yeah, my number two is rules. So, ano yung rules? Siguro pareho to dun
And number 1.
sa complexity. Sa
Mm.
complexity. So, uh, when you show a game to a person, don't show them the thick rule book. And when I
Mm.
say thick, it's probably maybe just 10 or 15 pages. So, uh, when you're introducing games to people, the best way to do it is through a demo. Uh, yung rule book is really a tool for people who are already into this hobby
Mm,
and want to learn it. And
yeah.
and usually yung rule book, even in a play group, ang gumagamit lang talaga ng rule book is yung bumili ng game
Mhm.
dahil ituturo niya dun sa mga kasama niya. His
Mm.
friends don't even want to read the rule book.
Yeah.
So, when you're demoing, wag mong ipakita agad, oh, ito yung rule book. Kailangan mo itong basahin. No, that's not how you don't want to show that to people because you don't want people to see that, ay, naku, dami kong aaralin or
Mm.
sobrang complicated ata nito. So, yun, that's it. It's if you notice, most of the things I'm talking about are things that we've experienced while demoing games at events. So dun based yung top 5 ko.
Mm.
So yun.
Mm.
You guys want to add anything to that
Yeah,
or
I'll add to that
Mhm.
kasi ako, yan. So definitely rule books are a barrier. Um, not everybody learns the same way. So reading and also a tendency talaga ng ako, I need to be taught. So since hindi ko kaya, I would have to read the rule book, watch the video, and then read the rule book again, and then play it with like try to play it as how I understand it, and then go through the video again. Hindi siya talaga pumapasok. Pero if somebody teaches me the game, yeah, done. It just I just remember it quickly. So it is a barrier, but there's another worse barrier for rule books are bad rule books. Yun talaga,
Mm.
wala na, the game is not or playable. Pag hindi kayang intindihin ang rule book mo, sorry. Your
yeah,
game
Yeah.
will not get played. Kahit anong ganda pa ng idea,
yeah,
Ah.
kung pangit ang rule book mo at hindi siya maintindihan, yung tipong babanata ka, no, it's okay. It's opaque. Tapos meron
Yeah.
siyang chart sa likod. And then, sobrang dami ng terms.
Mm.
Tapos, tipong sasabihin mo siya, oh, it's a living document. Bakit? Kasi puro errata. So that.
yeah,
Wala na. Wala na ang rule
yeah.
book.
Yung
That's
Tsaka,
my
actually
worst
number 1.
experience was a rule book. I said that rule book read like a choose your own adventure book. Kasi parang you're reading this page and then it refers to that other page. So
ah,
patalon-talon ka habang nagbabasa ka ng rule book. It was such a terrible experience reading that rule book.
Yeah.
So it's a
Yeah.
game in itself. Choose your own adventure yung rule book niya.
mm. Yep.
Yes. I agree. All right.
Okay,
Yep.
Nico,
Nico,
What number are we? 2?
2.
number 2.
Um, okay. Well, this was mentioned already. For me, number 2 is cost. So the price, but also the perceived value of the game. Because yes, board games are relatively more expensive than other mediums, than other forms of entertainment. But also at the same time, it comes in a material that people generally don't value, which is paper. So we hear that a lot also na parang, oh, bakit? Papel lang yan eh. Bakit ganun yung price and ganon? Not all understanding that production of board games is actually very expensive. The profit margins of board games is actually very slim compared to other products.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And and then you also have to factor in that when it comes to perceived value, it's not only the material, which is paper, but also that, well, here in the Philippines we don't have a culture that values intellectual property that well. And that's exactly what games are also. It's the
Mm.
work of the designer, the work of the artist. So
Mm.
the game itself is a lot of things that Filipinos culturally devalue or
Yeah.
do not value. And then
Mm.
comes at a steep price tag. So
Yep.
it's a bad mix of those two
Mhm.
things. So yan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever
Entertainment
I
pa lang
have,
eh. We're
Mhm.
so used to free entertainment eh.
Yep.
So,
Mhm.
yeah.
pagka tinanong ako, like, oh, normally magkano, ang ganda naman ng mga board games nyo. Normally, magkano yan? 1,500, 2,000. What? Parang ganun lang yung
Yeah.
reaction ko
Yeah.
eh. What? Anong in-expect ko? Mga 200 lang. What? Ayoko naman yung sleeves pa lang yun. Di nga abot sa sleeves yun eh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ang
So
layo, malayo nga.
mhm.
Alright, sige. So let's pick up some of the
Mhm.
um so in terms of allergic daw sa words, yung mga pet. Hindi naman. But a lot of words, yes.
Mhm.
And then yun, never learn a game together. Not unless core gamers kayo lahat, then you do this. Pero may kasama kang new gamers who introducing the game. Okay, ano gusto niyo laruin? Tapos they just pull the game off the shelf. Tapos, oh sige, laruin mo. Wag. Wag. Sabihin mo, I haven't learned this game. Kasi, uh, don't think na, oh, you're very experienced as
Mhm.
a gamer, but you might miss things that might break it and it will create a bad experience. So, might as well just teach a game that you are a bit familiar with.
Mhm.
Yun nga, in terms of bad equals vague rules,
Yeah. In
how
terms
about
of
the, yeah, go ahead.
oh, in terms of rule book then important ang how it is presented and not just the content. So, yon like a rule book with bad font, medyo
Oh,
basahin yun, medyo pangit yun.
yung
Or
tipong,
mga mga
May
walls of
flashback.
yeah, the one of the things I see in older games is they usually have walls of text. So it's just
mm,
like a block of text poke that they just want to try to fit as much text into a piece of paper as even if it reads well, just the sight of that wall of text is already intimidating and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So, yun.
Ngayon talaga you want the
Yeah.
eyes to flow, meron ng breathing room. If
Yeah,
you
yeah.
want it na talagang ito is something that they would notice,
Mhm.
then
What Yeah, I think one thing that is underappreciated with modern board games is the graphic design. There's a
mm,
lot of things that you find in modern board games that go underappreciated, but it helps in the flow of the information, the flow of the rules. So yeah,
yeah.
shout out to all the graphic designers out there.
Kaya guys, pagka nabuksan niyo yung plataforma,
Oh yeah, I
ako
forgot.
nagpapalagay talaga ako aside from yung sa art, although wala namang art to game. Sa game design, pinapalagay ko talaga yung mga graphic designers na
Mhm.
tumulong sa akin for this game kasi hindi talaga siya malalaro kung, kung hindi aayos yung UX.
Yeah.
So, sobrang laking bagay niya.
Mhm.
Yan. Please look up the graphic designers of platform. William said, one way we got others into the fold is tell them wonderful stories and lore behind the game. That's true. So you have to sell the game when you are teaching a game. You have to um, give them the hook. Minsan nga, I always like when Javi uh, would teach games kasi he would look at a Euro game and sometimes just go, okay, I know that's this game, but essentially, and then yung layo nung yung ibibigay niya parang situation that now makes this whole concept interesting. Parang, okay, so, yun. So, sometimes you have to find that hook. Uh, what else? Clint said, as a rules reader, sobrang sarap ng pakiramdam pag maganda ang pagkakagawa ng rules. Hmm. Yes, Desky, mahirap talaga yung mga living rules. Kasi yung akala mo, naintindihan mo na yung game eh. Tapos pag-update mo, oh, wait, that's different na.
Mhm.
Na-update na siya. Yeah. Rulebook daw, ginawang solo game. Yeah. All right. Okay. Respect my opinion. Got it. All right. So our number one, and as I mentioned, ako ang number one ko actually was also rules. So siguro wala ako ng follow-up. Parang ano, mga nasa number, this was my number 8, which is might be a little bit controversial. Overly eager gamers is a deterrent to
Go
to
on,
uh,
please.
so yung tipong ganito yan, let's give you a setting, no? May
Okay.
bisita ka o kaya relative mo o kaya kahit nasa office, di ba? Tapos yung tipong na-mention lang, nakita sa webcam na, may games pala sa loob. Oh, yeah, games. Bali ganito yan eh. Itong game na to, worker placement yan. Ito yung ginagawa niyan. Tapos ito, this is this. Tapos yun, I'm actually a game designer. Just, wala na nagkwento. Tapos parang sila lahat, yeah, I don't want to ask again anymore. So yun lang. Parang, I know we're excited about our games and excited to share about our hobby, and not everybody that you will encounter would be interested in gaming right away. You have to find the right time. And minsan ako, I fall into this trap as well. Na parang I realize I've already lost the person I was like, nung una interested pa siya eh, and then I overextended by 30 more seconds and wala na. So I should have shut up after I explained I was a game designer. That's it.
Ilabas mo na yung mga Manila paper with
Di ba?
Awake alerts
conspiracy
alive.
theory.
Yeah.
And this one, this is ganyan. This is a
Oo,
hero.
tapos yung ano,
Ganyan.
glory
Yeah.
to home, dapat na-reprint yan eh. Ito lang yung naging problema.
Yeah. You know when you start looking like the conspiracy theory meme while explaining the
Yeah.
games, you've gone overboard.
Yes. Ang problema, sir, hindi natin nakikita yun eh. Yung nakatingin
Yeah.
sa atin ng gano'n. So you have to like
Yep.
learn that look back to you na parang, ang geek mo
Ganun eh.
naman.
Habang nag-explain ka, biglang may background music pa ng X-Files na bigla,
Yes. And all the math symbols that show up. Yan. So that's my number one. Rules pa rin nga. Late, ano, number 8 follow-up. Overly eager gamers. Okay, Sir Freddy, what is your number one?
My number one is really, this is very personal. And I always see this, it's cultural stigma. The cultural stigma of tabletop games. And it comes in many forms. Meron kasi talaga, like, pag nakitang naglalaro ka, may hawak kang baraha, akala nagsusugal ka. When people see you playing, they feel that you're wasting your time. So there's so much cultural stigma, not just the Philippines. And I think this happens in a lot of Asian countries as well. Na pag naglalaro ka, hindi ka kumikita ng pera. So nagsasayang ka lang ng oras. So it's that's something na I think will hit every single tabletop gamer. Probably experienced it. And it's one of the biggest barriers that I see for people to get into this dahil nakikita nila yung cultural stigma on it eh. And I have to admit that even me, like 20 years ago, honestly, yung when we started this business, I think a lot of my relatives were kind of worried because they really couldn't think why someone would buy the things we were trying to sell. So yun yung dun pa lang makikita mo na talaga na like people don't take this seriously. And we don't want people to take this too seriously. It is it is games after all. But we want, gusto natin na at the very least we get to that level na when we say we like to play tabletop games, hindi na tayo tataasan ng kilay or parang pambata yan or sugal yan or 'di ba? So yun yung gusto lang natin na abot na status eh. Na pag sinabi mo to, you don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to go into your conspiracy theory not mode, trying to explain this to your friends and relatives, and talagang okay, sige, accepted nila, and we want people to just treat this as normal as watching TV, watching a movie, going out to eat. Gusto natin makita na yung level na yun, na hindi na tayo mga weirdos, 'di ba? Yun lang naman ang
Yep,
hinahabol
yep,
natin.
yep.
We want to take out that cultural stigma, and that really is, I think, the biggest barrier, and encompasses a lot of things that we've talked about. You know, parang dikit-dikit na yan eh. It's all in the culture eh. Yung sayang sa oras, sayang ng pera, 'di ba? Sayang ng brain power. Uh, Cultural din yung pang mautak lang yan. Yung ayaw natin maging mautak, 'di ba? So it's all there. So I think that cultural stigma is number one talaga for me. So we want
Agree,
to
agree.
change that.
Agree.
And how do we change that? We have to be very good ambassadors of this hobby. So, yun lang naman.
Sir Freddy
Party
for
list.
gaming
Kailangan tayo ng
president.
party list.
Woohoo!
Woo!
Dapat magkaroon ng party list talaga ang gaming. Okay.
Yan.
Nico, take us home. Last one.
So actually, I just wanna I wrote down the reason just kanina that is related to what Sir Freddy said, and it's something that I'm still wrapping my head around especially when doing demos na kasi like kunyari when we were promoting yung mga like Darna. So yun medyo malayo talaga from the gaming community, which is yun. And when we were doing those demos, may times talaga parang yung mga tao na to, hindi nila mag-grasp yung concept. It seemed to us like hindi nila mag-grasp yung concept of playing a game for fun. Yung parang it seems like whenever they would play a game, it would be to win money, which is gambling.
Yeah.
Pero yung concept lang yung for fun lang, parang it didn't make sense. It was either to win money, to become better to learn a skill. Parang laging may hinahanap na iba. So ayun, I just connected to what Sir Freddy was saying is that there's that cultural, I don't know, for gamers, it's weird na parang sa atin, yeah, we're playing for fun kasi that's the obvious reason why we're playing. Pero for some people, parang hindi nila mag-grasp yung concept na yun. And I'm still also trying to understand bakit ganun yung tingin nila. So, anyways.
Mahanap mo yan, Nico, sa mo, sa iyong deep dive into the old culture and our ancient past. So,
I don't know.
When you find it there, share it.
Pero I think si Sir Freddy mentioned it already na our culture tries to maximize its time for earning money and doing things that are productive.
Yeah.
So
naman.
just for fun doesn't make sense. Parang you have to it has to have some sort of productive value. Parang ganun yung tingin ng mga tao, I think. So anyways, before I go to my one, I just want to have an honorable mention na naisip ko lang now. This might also be a little controversial, but it is people having a mediocre experience with Monopoly when they were younger. So, let me explain that first. So a lot of
na-trauma na.
A lot of people would look fondly to Monopoly when they played it, nag-enjoy sila. But if you ask them if they actually ever finished a game, hindi nila masasabi kung natapos ba nila or who won. And then they even think fondly of table flips and stuff like that. And this is not to judge yung gameplay ng Monopoly. That's not the point of this. But it's more of that when that is your intro to games, a game that can stretch off indefinitely, especially since most people aren't playing the rules properly, baka yun yung nagiging standard ng what a board game is like. and they might extrapolate that all board games are like Monopoly.
Mhm.
And since Monopoly, they had fun naman, but it's not like fun yung it's the fun na parang okay, nag-enjoy ako, I did that, it was enjoyable naman at the time and move on na ako. It didn't give that sense of gusto mong balikan and gusto mong
Mhm.
i-explore yung hobby more. So
Mhm.
because of that, parang people I guess feel like they're just done with it and they had fun, okay na, move on, goes to another form of entertainment. So I think that's my honorable mention.
Yeah, I think
Um,
the way the US is in most modern countries are combating that is that yun nga, that's why they started creating deals with Target, with
mm,
Walmart, na yung they're really creating and partnering with sort of these mass market malls and stores to put
mm,
games that are catered to that. Kaya they would have a simpler version of Ticket to Ride, they'll have a more
mhm,
accessible na Stone Age and so forth. Para nga, um, they could tap. See, if I'm not mistaken, see Bicycle Cards
mhm.
did some really good collaborations and created some really good games na talagang pang mass market. Kaso,
Yeah.
hindi pa lang nakakaabot sa Pilipinas. Kasi
Oh, okay.
there I was surprised one time in National Bookstore na nagkaroon siya ng it's a abstract puzzle game. Meron silang series, wooden abstract puzzle games. Parang
Mhm.
as in talagang hinahanap ko siya ulit kasi na na hiniram sa akin, hindi na lang bumalik. So,
Mm,
um, hinahanap ko siya, hindi nila kinuha ulit. Parang, it's really good. And they should have done more of those, but yun nga, the tendency
mm,
for National Bookstore and a lot of our
mm,
local mass market, they would just carry
yeah.
the mass market. Tapos, if they're, for example, they partner with our local gaming stores, then they would carry the core market games.
Mm,
Pero yung may
yeah.
gitna yun eh. Meron pa
Yeah.
nasa gitna that makes it, gives you better access papunta dun sa core market na
Yeah. Yeah.
talagang dinesign siya pang mass market pero ang game design niya is galing sa core. Yung
Yeah.
mga ganong games, yun yung parang nami-miss sa local market natin.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's less about it's not about Monopoly being bad. It's more of it's less of it. It's not a gateway game either. It
Mm,
doesn't draw people into the hobby. It's
yeah.
just okay, nalaro mo tapos okay na, good na ako.
I don't think objective ng
I'm
Monopoly
not
was
funneled into the hobby. So yun.
to introduce you to other games.
I
I think
think
it wasn't, parang hindi
it's
niya naging design style yun.
it's kasi
Especially how it's
mm,
branded, di
mm,
ba? Parang
yeah.
they have very specific rules. Jail has to always look like this. But
Yeah.
there are certain parts of Monopoly that is brand first rather than the
I
the community first.
Yeah, it's as Monopoly also predates the community. I mean,
Mhm.
and the modern industry.
Yep.
I like how Eric Lang puts it. Na Monopoly is a folk game already. It's like
Mm,
an antiquity game in a way. It's not really, it has a different space. It's not a gateway game. It's not a game that funnels into the hobby. It just exists in its
yeah.
own space. So yun.
Yung
But
ibang
okay,
kala,
huh?
yung suka,
Yeah. So
actually.
okay. So just
Anyway, go
ano.
ahead, go ahead.
Okay. So my number one is that again um it's that I think tabletop is a medium, an entertainment medium that is harder to appreciate in the digital age compared to other mediums. And ayun, I think that's a big barrier because then people's attention would go into the other
Mm,
mediums instead of tabletop. So what I mean by that is let's say you're I guess this is also based on my own experiences in like marketing games, especially new games.
yeah.
Like if you want people to get attention, to put attention into art, let's say, then you just post the art on Facebook and people can instantly appreciate it right there and then.
Mm-mm.
Or music, you just take a 30-second snippet of the song and people will appreciate it. People will share it. Film, same thing, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You just put a fight scene or like where the heavy CG stuff is, then people will appreciate it. But with games, the core of games is really gameplay, which is
Mm.
what you're doing, and that is very hard to show on like social media, on I mean, like the best case would be um like the show of Will Wheaton, Tabletop.
Yeah,
But even
tabletop.
then, one episode is what, 45, how long is it? It's been so
30
long.
minutes,
30
30
minutes.
minutes to like, yeah, 30 minutes.
Yes.
They compressed
So
that 30 minutes.
yeah, and aside from that, it's not like there are a lot of people. It's not easy also to do what he did. I mean, you have to go
Oh,
to
yeah.
full production house. You don't just post your art or whatever. So it's just really hard to explain the experience of tabletop digitally.
Mm-mm.
So you have to be there, you have to experience it,
Yep.
but that kind of experience does not scale well digitally. It's not
Yeah.
yung share lang ganon. So it's like what's the term, um by word of mouth, basically.
Mm.
That's how tabletop spreads, word of mouth, and that's just so much slower than digital virality.
Yeah.
So yun,
Which
if
is
so
why
mm,
a lot of more modern games really capitalize on Kickstarter,
yes.
capitalize
Mm-mm.
on hype in order to
Yeah.
get their games across, as
Mhm.
compared to like the old mantra of like Rio Grande games back in the day, where walang marketing ang Carcassonne. Ang point
Yeah.
lang nila is, o sige, my game will become ang goal namin is magkaroon ng mga evergreens. So
Yeah.
ito, dahil maganda yung gameplay, kaya siya bibiliin over time. Pero
Yeah.
ngayon, hindi na pwede yun eh. Kasi
Yes.
pagka yung game mo, hindi kayang mag-hit in 3 months, wala na siya.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's it.
And that's why also games focus on art and minis, on theme, because those are the things that are easier to propagate digitally.
Yep.
And then yung gameplay, yung marketing ng board games is more of, you're just marketing the promise of the gameplay. You're not really
Yeah.
marketing the gameplay itself because it's too difficult,
Yeah.
and you're just the promise of it.
Yeah.
And that's also why
Yung
there are
ano,
games, maganda yung theme, maganda yung marketing, pero pangit yung game kasi
Yep.
the
mm,
gameplay is, you can't really market that. It's only
Mm-hmm.
when people get it and play it na, oy, di pala ganun. It's
Yeah.
so yun.
yeah.
And also digital
Agree.
marketing, when tabletop games use digital marketing, it's not really expanding the market base.
Mm,
You can
yes,
only
Yes.
use digital marketing to the converted.
Yep.
yes,
You cannot generate new players with digital marketing sa tabletop games precisely because of the characteristics that Nico said. The
Mm,
only way to get new players is for a player, an existing player, to teach another player how to play and then share that experience. Kailangan
mm,
talagang may ganong physical connection eh. That's why ngayong pandemic talagang I
yeah,
it's really hard to get new people into the hobby, 'di ba? We don't have the conventions, we don't have the face to face, hindi tayo visible sa real world. So hindi natin kayang ma-share yung experience eh. And yes, we do digital stuff but sino yung pumunta? Eh tayo-tayo rin yun eh,
yeah,
'di ba?
mhm.
So I guess that's really true. Yung this doesn't yes, we can use digital but only to market to the
yeah.
existing base.
Yeah.
Probably ano lang, no? Like Tabletop the show was probably the only exception to that. Yung
Pero
they're
even
able to
then,
get outside. Oo.
yeah,
Pero
maybe,
medyo
but
captured market
oo
pa
Yeah,
eh.
rin. Pero yes, agree na it went beyond the
Mm.
the dice tower sort of like circle,
Mm.
where
mm,
kasi ang dice tower para siyang library na eh, 'di ba?
yeah,
I want to learn this game, so I'm gonna look for the video ng dice tower kasi they probably have done a rules overview already of this.
yeah,
Tabletop really went for the playthrough. Um,
Yeah.
so, and at that time, marami rin siya na-inspire na para mga playthrough. Yun nga lang, sila
Mm.
lang talaga yung may budget. Kasi sa
Yes.
totoo lang, a game that is worth, 30, kahit nasabihin natin the game is played in 30 minutes or an hour, but a turn still looks the same. It is just exciting for the player that's currently looking at the board. For
Yeah.
everybody else that's watching in the background, it is so bland. Kasi what are people doing? I'm going here. That your turn. Oh, I'm getting wood. Okay, your turn.
Yeah.
And that's the conversation. You can have some okay, ito na yung gagawin mo. But pero sa kayo mismo at that moment, ang saya nyo. But for the
Yeah.
people that are watching, hindi. So of course, dahil Hollywood magic, so Will Wheaton was able to, add in
Yeah.
interviews, um, put in some script onto that. So yun. It is hard. We tried.
Yeah.
To be honest,
It's
we tried. We even costed it, di ba, Sir Freddy? We even costed it. We even costed it down to that. Like, can we do this? And we realized, yeah, very hard.
yeah.
So
Board
yun.
games. It's not a spectator medium. I
Yes.
think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
because even video games pwede.
Yeah.
Sports pwede, pero board games are not really as maybe RPGs. But like board games,
Mm.
not really.
Pag hindi ka kasi kasali, talagang hindi siya, it's not exciting. You have to be in the game for it to be exciting.
Hmm.
Kasi nga it's happening in your head eh.
Hmm.
Moving pieces on the board doesn't really mean anything to the uninitiated, 'di ba?
Mm-hmm. All right. So we have some few comments here.
Uh-huh.
Fernando is sharing that he made a game, Christian game.
Yeah.
So cool. Yeah, pursue that,
Oh,
Fernando. If you haven't checked it out, I also did one a few years back, 2015, I think, when we released it, called Codes and
may
Verses.
may pahabol lang ako sa last na point ko.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, it's just na I just wanna say na yung cool thing that so yun nga because board games are not really a spectator medium. One cool thing that people that did was Yu-Gi-Oh, which what they did is they made an anime which is
Yeah.
about the game, and that's what made the game popular. It's the anime, not the game itself. So the anime was just a big ad for the game. So that was one like creative way to turn it into a something that is easily promoted digitally or through mass media or but not everyone can do that and not everyone should do that because it's not gonna work
Mm-hmm.
out.
Agree. Agree.
So
Yeah.
yun
I,
lang.
I remember playing Vanguard, and I just liked it because I get to shout, Vanguard! So, or okay, Melvin Velasquez, kung hindi nag-pandemic, hindi ako namulat sa board game. Oh, okay, that's very interesting, Melvin.
Oh,
So yeah, Fernando, if you are interested, also try out a lot of the board game and the local game market, local game designers. Uh, so see if there are some inspiration already there. Kasi yun nga, that's true. No, that we wanna design games. I think games talaga. There are games for mass market. There are games for core gamers. There are games for um, abstract. There are games for excitement. There are games for story. Sobrang dami talaga ng games. And I think us as advocates, ambassadors, ang role natin is how can we share this hobby to other players? How can we share this to other potential gamers? Kasi yun talaga siya. It's very experiential. Even if um, you have a game that you think might work, and in my head at that time, oh, this is gonna be for everyone. Not necessarily. I tried, and it's still there is still a game for everyone. Yes, but not every game is for everyone. So yun. Alrighty. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us for the past 2 hours, almost 2 hours. So quite surprising, amazing, amazing reaction from everyone, from everyone's participation. Thank you for joining us. Keep safe. I know they're relaxing already the pandemic, but at the same time, there's also some new challenges that are happening in our society, in our world. And if this at least gives you a bit of a rest or a respite, then we're happy that we were able to give you something to think about. Uh, keep on sharing the love of gaming to your friends and family, and keep safe until next time. Thank you, everyone. We'll be back next month on LarongAtin. But next week, we have a lot of shows here in the Valuable Play Network, so feel free to hop on anytime. There are so many contributors that we have here, and we'll be seeing you guys soon. See you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, and by the
Bye-bye.
way,
Good night.
um, look out for that bacon information once we
Hmm.
fleshed out the things. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.